One thing's for sure about Pacific Rim, positive word of mouth has been overwhelming. I was on the fence before, but it got to the point where I just had to see it for myself. I mean, Del Toro's Hellboy movie was hardly my favorite comic book film. I'm not that big on Godzilla films, and Neon Genesis Evangelion is hardly my favorite anime. My favorite animes that involve huge mecha are Magic Knight Rayearth and Full Metal Panic, and even there, mecha battles are hardly the sole focus. But even considering that, did I enjoy this movie? Hell yeah! It's a good thing I didn't see any trailers, so moments like the Gypsy Danger dragging a tanker to then use like a baseball bat on some pissant kaiju came as a pleasant surprise. I literally screamed something along the lines of, "You gotta be shitting me," and I couldn't have been the only one. The general consensus is that Del Toro set out to simply make this a fun movie, and for the most part, they're right. A simple plot about giant robots fighting giant alien monsters just works, but thanks to the former needing two human pilots to plug in their brains to handle the load, and thus sharing memories and shit, there's a lot more character development than one might think. Again, I haven't seen all that many Godzilla films, but Godzilla Final Wars easily ranks among my most favoritist films of all time. Even there, the non-kaiju characters, I can't remember their names, but the human characters in Pacific Rim are a driving force, ensuring it's not just one big brainless monster mashup. What Michael Bay tried really hard to do with his characters in the Transformers series, but never quite hit the mark, Del Toro seems to do with minimal effort. This brings me to my next point. I'm always up for seeing an old Godzilla movie I've never watched. I love me some anime, and Japanese game series still rank among my favorites. Yet there's some Western fans of this stuff that seem to think Western filmmakers and game designers are utterly incapable of replicating their success. Pacific Rim is the latest in a series of examples that proves this is utter horsefuck. Word of mouth I received was from lovers of anime and the like, and though Pacific Rim won't hit Japan until August 9th, I suspect it will rake in a tidy sum in the land of the rising sun. But there's other films that disprove the notion of the inability of Westerners to adapt Japanese source material. Let's look at a movie from a few years ago with a whopping budget of 0. Damn right, bitches, we're talking about Mega Man. No doubt there were naysayers that said live-action Mega Man was impossible, and then Eddie LeBron not only does it anyway, but completely changes the style. Instead of a bright, colorful, cheery vibe with robots that resemble children, Mega Man boasts adult actors, a darker take on the mythos, and a filming style like most Western action films. And the result? Fans fucking loved it. Many have said it's one of the best film adaptations of a game, if not the best, and it's based on a game with a distinctive Japanese style. And then there's entries in long-running franchises that started in Japan, but were done by Western game developers. One good example is Silent Hill. After Silent Hill 4, pretty much all the games were handled by Western developers. I already did a review of the prequel game, Origins, which was done by the British team Climax, and I haven't been shy about saying that Homecoming, done by the American team Double Helix, was one of my absolute favorites. Hell, I find it kind of insulting that its release in Japan was axed. And then there's the Big Daddy, the Metroid Prime trilogy. Do you remember how the fanboys were screaming their heads off when it was announced that some Texas-based studio called Retro was turning the series into a first-person shooter, right? And you also remember how we were forced to eat our own asses when we found out that Metroid Prime was, well, pretty much one of the best damn games in existence. So the point is this. All my fellow Westerners who love stuff that comes out of Japan, for the love of shit, stop automatically getting a collective hair up your ass whenever Westerners take a stab at something that originated out of Japan. Stop whining about Godzilla 1998 or Dragon Ball Evolution or whatever. Stop being this damn snobbish fanboy and give stuff like Pacific Rim a shot. There was one big fucking love letter to Japanese cartoons and monster flicks, and anyone who's enjoyed an episode of Evangelion or a Godzilla movie will feel right at home. And let's face it, this film has set the standard that Godzilla's big 60th anniversary bash must live up to. Here's hoping that next year, Western filmmakers can do their Japanese counterparts justice with Godzilla 2014. In any case, I give Pacific Rim an 8.25 out of 10.